And go. Dashboard is up. There we go. There we go. Hi. I know you're not ready to go either. Oh, but we gotta go. Gotta get going. Yeah, gotta get going. Oh, you're ready? Okay. Let me put the window up. Why can I not get the key in there? Oh, come on, stupid thing. And there we go. Yep, let's get going. And we're just gonna do some easy miles today. Easy miles. Well, don't push me out the door. Ooh, it's so bright out that my phone must be hot because it was sitting in the sun. Okay. I don't see the dog Nazi here, so yeah, no dog Nazi. Get off me. Need to do that. Bless you. Nice, come here. She is wandering off somewhere. Yeah, you stay here. There's all of a sudden, gosh dang. Come here. I gotta put the leash on you because all of a sudden, freaking, what the hell? All these cars are like showing up. Like it's like they're racing. Yeah. You stay here because this parking lot is pretty full, and all of a sudden, like 4 cars came racing in here. Don't know what that's about. And I need to fill my waters up really quick because we completely emptied them out yesterday. You gotta hold on. Even though yesterday wasn't as warm as the day before, for whatever reason, the miles that we did yesterday, 2 water bottles, one for her, one for me, should have been plenty enough. Well, we didn't even make it. What, maybe, how far did we make it? Probably 5 miles in? And she had already gone through her water bottle. And she drank actually quite a bit of water before we left too. And then I tried to push it all the way down. We didn't quite make it down to the trailhead. The other trailhead. What the hell is my freaking watch doing to me here? And so then we had to make a decision when we made it about, well, we made it to the top of the peak over there, and I was like, I don't have enough water for us to go all the way down and come back for her. Like, I would be able to make it, but being that she'd already gone through that much water, I was like, there's no way. we're going to be able to make it all the way down there. And so it was like, okay, we can either turn around now, or we can gosh dang, I needed get a little drinky drink here real quick. Gosh dang, you'd think the way all these people these cars that just came in were racing in, that they would have been all part of like the same group showing up here to do whatever. They're not. It was like, what were you guys racing each other to the trailhead for? Okay, hold on. Hold on. I know you're super excited to go. But, gosh dang, why is my phone... It's not overheating now, but I cannot see the screen at all. So, it is dark, like when your phone gets really super hot. Okay, she's gonna pee right there, I guess. Thank goodness you really had to pee. No wonder you were trying to get going. She really had to pee. And I knew she would, because she drank a lot of water yesterday. Or, well, last night. She didn't drink as much as she needed to during the day. But... Okay, come on. Come on.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Are you gonna poop before we go? Because I don't feel like having to carry your poop the whole way. For a second, why did I lose video? I don't know what's going on with my phone. Don't know what's going on with it. Was somebody I knew from work, from previous work, let's put it that way. I've known him forever. I deployed with him back in 2004. Probably the worst hangover I've ever had in my life was because I decided to go drinking with him. It was rough. It was rough. It was fun, but it was rough. Okay. You gonna go poops? Go poops. Hi, how are you? Lots of people out here I know. I have no idea which unit they're with though, because I know what unit he used to be with. I know what unit that girl used to be with. It wasn't the same unit. So it's interesting that it's a mixture like that. But, okay, yeah, oh, okay, just kick dirt at me, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Oh. You just had to poop right there, huh? Just had to poop right there where you're all amongst the grass. Okay, let's go take this back and throw it off.
Alright, Jenny, you're gonna go to the left. Oh, good doggo. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Doggy.
Oh yeah, you can. She's friendly.
What's her name?
Nessa.
Oh, hi. Oh, you're so cute. That is really, really smart. YouTube water bottle.
Yeah, she'll stay here and just say hi to everybody if she can. Huh.
So cute.
Okay. You want to? Okay, you take the leash. You take the leash.
The dog walks itself.
She's carrying her own leash right now. Kind of. She has it in her mouth, but she grabbed it at the wrong spot. So if the dog Nazi shows up, he can't yell at me because she's on her leash. She's carrying herself. She's definitely walking herself. Yeah. She does that every now and then. Top of the morning? Yeah, thanks. We're gonna go through this way and then it's always like extra 5 minutes to get going because she has to poop and do everything before we go. Okay, come here, I'm gonna take your leash off. Now that there's not so many people. Come on, taking this off, you weirdo. There you go. A group of kids showed up and they are going a different way, so. There we go. Somebody tried to just call me right now, which interrupts my stream. I don't know why. I get so many spam calls from numbers that it's like, I don't know anybody and freaking, well, it's really funny when they choose numbers from towns in Montana where it's like Fishtail, Montana. Fishtail, Montana has a population. We're gonna go this way. We're gonna go this way. We're going the easier way today. It's like bullshit we are. We're going the way we normally go. Or no, we're going this way. So we can run. It'll be easier. Because my legs are tired after yesterday. Which destroyed both of us. Even though we didn't get our 16 miles. We got about, well, just shy of 14. And it completely destroyed us. Like I guess I was starting to say, no, we're going this way. She's looking at me like, come on, motherfucker, we're going up here. We're taking the easy way today. A little bit longer, but easier. So our legs can get all loosened up. But she, even though it wasn't as warm yesterday as it was the day before, she went through so much water. And she drank a lot of water before we left, too. So I don't know if she just started off dehydrated or what, but it was a struggle for her. It was a struggle for me. And the reason why it was a struggle for me is because I had to give her all my water, so by the end I was very dehydrated. And I really didn't know if she was going to make it all the way. Because she got the very last of the water. And we were on the backside of the mountain still, so we had about 2 miles left. But she made it. Wasn't pretty. Where are you at? Oh, you're back there. Okay, well, let's run a little bit. See how our legs are feeling. This trail is this is the lower trail. And it is very modest elevation gain until you get back to either Deratissima or Chevy, and then you have a climb. But that's the way we're gonna go. By then, hopefully my legs are loosened up and we can just continue running the whole thing all the way to the top. And then we'll come down Prospect Shaft. And my dog is back there, not paying attention. Boy, the sun is hot this morning. I don't know why my video is struggling. There's the city right there. I mean, we're right there. Of course, the cell towers are on the other side of those little knobs right there, or at least the closest one. She's still looking at me like, where are you going, you fool? She's like, we always go up the other way. You're correct. We do always go up the other way. She is so confused. Okay, can we run a little bit again? But yeah, so we ran out of water. Sorry, we got all the way down to the other end and started to go down the ridge to the other end of the trailhead at the other end of the trail, which is about a little over 7 miles. And well, probably closer to 7.5 really, just because it switchbacks down. And I looked at her because it's completely exposed, and I'm like, there's no water source on the other end. So now we were 1.5 water bottles gone out of our 2. There's no creek that you can access down on the other end. There is a creek, but it's all surrounded by private land and you can't even get close to it. So we had to make the decision of, do we want to drop down on the road? If we went down after yesterday, I'm not gonna be sad about it. But so when we got to that point, it was either we're gonna drop down and we can run along the road for about a mile to an access point to the creek, refill our water bottles, and then run another 1/4 mile down the road to hit the first trail to come back up. And which is, in retrospect, probably what we should have done. But we decided to just turn around. Well, I decided to just turn around instead. And yeah, we didn't even make it maybe 2 miles. And then because she kept looking up at me asking for water, so I gave her all but like the last 2 ounces that we had. Yeah, we're going. She's looking at me like, do you know where you're going? Yes, I know where we're going. Plus, once we get up here a little ways, we are in amongst the trees, so we're not as exposed out here in the sun, because that sun is warm this morning. Even though it's only like 62 degrees out right now. I think it's supposed to only get up to 80 today. But yeah, so I saved about 2 ounces of water and waited until we got to the backside of the mountain here, coming back to give her the rest of the water, and then we made it in. But I think in retrospect, because I knew on this trail there was no water, even though I have my little Solomon water bottle with a filter on it that I always keep in my vest. So if we come across a water source, I can always fill up my water bottles again. But even if you're not a runner, if you're just out hiking or whatever, I suggest you get one of those, because it's just a soft flask. She's still looking at me like, dude, where are we going? Come on, I know where we're going. She is just not having it today. I don't know what her deal is. She's been on this trail before, but she's just not. I think she just wants to get to the top and back down today, because she keeps looking up the hill like, dude, why are we not going up? There's a part of the town you don't really see very clearly over here when we're up on our adventures here, or from the angle, I guess, because we don't ever take this trail. Yeah, she's going really slow today, so she is definitely tired. Plus, it didn't help the weirdo. Here she is, hot and tired, and I don't know, about a mile back in, after you get to where you actually hit the Helena Ridge Trail, which is on the backside of this mountain. Why are you going so slow? Come on. Yeah, it's not that hot. Come on. And she keeps getting in front of me and slowing down to try and get me to turn around, because that is her MO. She would do that. But she was back there, like, and this is after, we barely had any water, and every time we'd get to like a shady area on the trail, because there was quite a bit of it where it's exposed to the sun. But there was like every time we came to a shady spot, she would like lay down and be like, I need a break. And so after doing that for like 3 miles, then we get to like the wide open exposed part, and there was tons of gophers around there, and she's running around like a crazy girl chasing gophers, and I'm like, I thought you were tired and hot. So that definitely didn't help, being that we didn't have much water left at that point. Yeah, you're not warm. I just touched you. You are not warm. But yeah, figure out what we're gonna do. My part for my van that I ordered came in yesterday, even though it wasn't supposed to show up until next week. In fact, it was gonna be hit or miss whether it was gonna show up in time before I left in Colorado on July 6th. I have to, and something else. And then I got my race on Sunday. And then, but trying to figure out, because I need to start a little mini taper for my race next weekend on, probably start on Tuesday, which I'll still get some miles, but definitely not the miles I'm getting this week. So I'm still trying to push hard this week. But because it's a holiday weekend, like around here, I guarantee people last weekend were dropping off their campers and all that kind of stuff at all the camping spots in this whole state so that they had it for this weekend, which you're not supposed to do, but people do it anyways. But so we're not gonna be able to find a camping spot, I guarantee that. Could probably go the spot I had up in the Bob Marshall, we could probably find again, because it's not a very, people drive by it all the time and don't actually realize that it's a camping spot, so nobody ever camps there, but it is. So we could probably go there, but finding a camping spot, because I don't really want to stay in town, because then I'm just running this and Mount Ascension all the time. But I'm thinking probably tomorrow, it's supposed to be a little bit cooler, we might go to the Meriwether Trail, which is down by, well, it's in the North Mountains from here, down by the river. And it's just trailhead, so we would be staying here tonight, even though we did camp there, or we camped, I use that word loosely. We stopped there one night. Actually, 2 nights we stayed there and slept there. Nobody said anything, but it was so early in the year that nobody was out yet. But, and you're allowed to park there overnight, because you could walk in and camp. There's a lot of backcountry campsites on that trail. So, I don't know, we could probably do that tonight, go out there, do that. The only problem is I will be, if I'm going to do anything signal-wise. Last time I was back there, I was able to get a little bit of cell service. In fact, we actually streamed for a little bit of it on my walk up until I got deep inside the little draw going up on top of that, up and over the saddle of that ridge. But I would probably want to have my Starlink set up, and if I have that set up, then people are definitely going to know that we're sleeping there. That way? Are you sure? Are you sure? Let me look and see. I think we're going the other way. Yeah, we're going the other way. You don't know where you're going. No, we're going this way. That way doesn't get us where we're going. And I didn't think it did, but for some reason you thought it did. But it starts heading up, so that's why she wants to go that way. She's like, can we just get to the top of the mountain, back to the van, so I can sleep all day? That's what she's thinking. So we're either gonna just stay here tonight, which my spot that I stealth camp at last night had me, I didn't get much sleep last night because there was all of a sudden 2 homeless people that moved in, like actually just like sleeping on the ground like homeless people, not like staying in their car. If they were staying in their car, I could care less. They just had their big cart full of things and just slept right there and not too far away from us. And then like, what was it, like 3 o'clock in the morning, some dude in a freaking Harley came rolling in, parked like right next to us, which I don't know why, because there's 40 spots up there. It's like, why did you choose right there? And then, and keep in mind, I have my, you can, if you look close enough, you can notice that my back door is cracked, because that way I get airflow in there, have my fan turned on. Otherwise it's like super hot in my van. But I was getting the nice cool air coming in from there, which every other night I've just turned my exhaust fan and switched it to where it was blowing air in instead of blowing air out. But it doesn't get as cool because there's no place for the air to necessarily go. But last night, because I haven't had any issues there, I decided to just have the door cracked to suck the air through there, because then it blows right over the top of me. Nice cool air. Usually sleep pretty good. Last night, not the case, because I was already hyper alert because of the homeless people, and a lot of homeless people I could care less about. That's just whatever their lifestyle they choose, or hard times or whatever. They're still decent people, all that. But from what I've witnessed, that's not necessarily the case here. And so you're always hyper alert about that. So then the biker, so I guess I finished my story. The biker guy came in. So that woke me up, because it's super loud. Freaking Harley pulls in right next to me for whatever reason. So my first thought is he probably drove by and noticed my door cracked open and was going to try and break in or whatever. Because you never know, somebody might be like, oh, this person didn't properly shut their door and they didn't notice it, so I'm going to break in and steal other stuff. Even almost any normal person would be like, oh, there's an exhaust fan going and the door's cracked. There must be somebody living in there. But anyways, so then I was awake, and after about I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, the bike started up again and left. Well, this is 3 a.m, which is why if it was like 11 o'clock at night or whatever, I would just be like, oh, they're parking here to go to some of the bars, whatever, even though I still question why they would park there, because if they're on a motorcycle, they could easily park down on the street, which is half a block closer to all the bars. But whatever. And then throughout the night, there was like people with pickup trucks and loud exhaust rolling in and then staying a couple minutes, then leaving. And I'm like, are people like dealing drugs and shit here now? That's what it almost made me think of. And then 4 o'clock this morning, I just happened to wake up, and if they tried to, she would have lost her shit. But okay, we're getting close to the area where we are going to have, the video is going to bounce up and down for the next probably 20 minutes, depending on how fast she wants to move. So So I only get like 3 steps and then I'm caught up to her again. But she's walking fast enough that if I just power hike, she goes away from me. But I can't run slow enough to. That's the issue. Reason why I'm so freaking stiff from yesterday is because I made her set the pace, which was not very fast. It was about a 15-minute, like just under, like maybe like a 14, between 14:30, 14:40, somewhere around that minute pace, which if I power, like if I really stepped it out, I could do that power hiking on flatter terrain like what we're on right now. But if I did that, then she would slow down even more. But if she thought I was running, then she would at least maintain that pace. And so I pretty much just had to run that pace, which was really, really hard on my hips and my hip flexors is what I can feel it in. What are you doing, huh? Yeah. We'll get you some water when we get to the top. I don't have any gels or anything on me either because we ate them all yesterday. Had to share them with her. And when we turned around yesterday, I even brought a snack along for her, a little jerky TRAT for her, which is about probably 100 calories, right around there. Which I always want to do, but I always forget. Well, I remembered yesterday, so she even had that. And then she still insisted on having some of my gels, which there's only a few that I can have. Oh, there's some mountain bikers up here pushing their bikes, so it looks like they're taking Road to Mars, though. I think we're gonna we're gonna jump over to the Chevy at some point. We're running around here. Haven't seen, unless you're out on the actual Helena Ridge Trail, because this year out here, I've always seen them. We're gonna go straight. Yeah, we're going this way. We're gonna go over to the old Chevy and then go up. But most of the bike riders are not, what would I say? More amateur status. Let's just say it that way. So we end up, right where we want to go. So you know where we're at now. But like, we noticed it yesterday because there were some bikers out. And then when that race was going on, as we were weaving around all the trails, that for the most part, today of course, because a little bit steeper, and we're power hiking up, well, we're catching people that are pushing their bike up the hill too, which makes sense. I mean, we're not pushing a bike up, we're just power hiking up. But it's always seems like we're passing all these mountain bikers. There's actually, looking around here, I don't see any flowers, but I recognize all these wild strawberry plants, which is crazy because I never knew. One, I never knew Montana had wild strawberries were around anywhere. It's always been back east that I've seen wild strawberries. Like they're all over. And I've never noticed it here before, but there was some here just now. We saw it all over in when we were up in the Bob Marshall. That forest up there, all over, which means bear activity in a few weeks. It's gonna be crazy as they're eating all those strawberries. Hey, puppers. But it is what it is. But there were like nice big plants too. So you know they're gonna have pretty decent sized strawberries. So I'd be like, if it wasn't next to a trail, I'd be like all up for that. Yeah. Hello. There. Hello. One thing I don't get is I've noticed here lately, like this is all new, all this graffiti on this. Somebody saying go Grizz. I don't know why you would. I mean, you want to talk about graffiti, that's probably the worst graffiti you could do. But I've noticed here that someone, and I'm guessing probably teenagers or younger adults, and it's like you're in Helena, Montana. It's not like you're in LA with a bunch of gangs and stuff. But that's what, almost like what they think they are. But, hello. Hi. Good job, sweet girl. Ooh, I am sweating something good. I am not going to make fun of her for panting now. I'm sweating. This sun is hot because we have no breeze now. No breeze. My original thought was I would be warmed up by now and loosened up to where we could run this, because it's runnable. Little switchbacks here, but I'm loosened up, I'm warmed up, but I am tired. Like there was nothing, and I haven't had breakfast yet, which is normal when we're around here. Like if we're out somewhere, you know, camped out, because I wake up and I make my own coffee. Here I don't make my own coffee. We run by Starbucks because the girls that, but because of that, I don't ever eat any breakfast, because when we're camped out while my coffee's cooking, I you know, make myself some oatmeal or a bowl of cereal or something as well. And I don't do that here. So then when we take off running, I have zero. Gosh dang it. I mean, the parking lot was definitely full, but there's a lot of People with dogs out here. Yeah. Hello.
Mabel, come on. Hi. Oh, you are such a birdie.
Okay, come on, Nessa. No, that's not yours. Come on. Come on.
Oops, I'm sorry, I'm not helping.
No, she'll do that no matter what. So, come on. You know. Come on. Hi, puppers. Hello. Yeah. Good job. Okay. Had a plastic Ziploc baggie, and I think Nessa thought he had treats. So she was like, oh, give me some of that. She is such a treat whore. Which is funny because she's not a food motivated dog necessarily. Like, she doesn't overeat. Like, most of the time I have to convince her to eat all of her food. Because she'll just eat part of it and then... But she's been free fed her whole life, so she'll just eat a little bit here or there. Well, on days like, say yesterday, when we got back, we got back right before lunch, like literally, I mean, it was essentially lunchtime we got back at. And I hadn't had any breakfast yesterday other than some of the gels that we ate along our run. So I was ready for some real food when we got back. Well, so was she. So she ate a little bit of her food. Well, then I was making me a sandwich for me to eat. And of course, we have a ritual whenever I'm making a sandwich. I always use like thin sliced deli meat, usually some sort of turkey or ham. I think today, or this week, is ham. I felt like switching it up a bit. And I get 4 slices for my sandwich, but I always pull 5 out of the bag, and she gets 1 slice because it's really super thin. I mean, it's not maybe 5 calories or 10 calories as thin slices this stuff is. And then I eat my sandwich, and then usually, because she's such a good girl and just sits there all patiently, doesn't beg or anything like that, she gets the very last bite of my sandwich. I always give it to her. And that goes back to when we were doing a lot of road tripping before gas got so out of control, gas prices. Oftentimes we would either get like this goes way back before I had my van, but so I didn't have like a fridge or a cooler or anything because we're usually in my car, so I didn't have room for any of that stuff. So we would usually just get a truck stop sandwich or whatever, and then because she doesn't like to eat while we're road tripping until we stop for the night, then she'll finally eat. But like while we're traveling, she won't eat. And I get it, because the vehicles move in and it's hard to stand up and eat some food when the vehicle's swaying back and forth. So I get it. But because I don't want her to starve, I would always give her the last bite of my sandwich. So now That's just what we do. She gets the last bite of my sandwich all the time. So, I guess the whole point of my story is, what she will quite often do, example of yesterday, is she only ate maybe half of her food, like maybe a cup. And on runs like we did yesterday, she will typically eat about 3 cups of food a day if she doesn't do a lot of activity. 1.5 cups, maybe 2 cups is about all she'll eat. And she only ate, when we got back, about probably not even a cup, a little less than a cup of food. And that's when I started pulling the sandwich stuff out. So then she shifted her focus, because she was like, oh, we're having sandwiches. And then she got her piece of ham and her last bite of my sandwich, but then she never goes back to actually eating her food. So that's why, I mean, like all day, she would just forget about it, because then she was so tired, so she was like sleeping most of the day and that kind of stuff. So then, morning like today, where she didn't eat all her food yesterday, she had extra hard day of exercise yesterday. So she sees a guy like that with a plastic bag that she assumes is treats, because when we were in DC, there was a guy that had her favorite treats of all time, freeze-dried liver. And he would always come out there and he had them in a Ziploc bag, so now she assumes, at least she knows where she's going. She knows we're going up instead of going down the Helena Ridge Trail, because that's where you go, right there. And this is when I talked about backside of the mountain. Right here is where she drank the very last of our water yesterday, because I saved it up. But to get to this point, she ran about 2 miles without being able to get any water. So it is pretty well shaded once, because we just went up here to the 1906 intersection, because going this way we got to go by Prairie Trail intersection and then 1906. Well, we're gonna go all the way to top, so, and then we're gonna go down Prospect Shafts just to get myself another completion of that, to maintain my local legend status, even though there's nobody even close to me. But we're not going to be running that for probably, I should get the video back here as soon as we get up on top of this little ridge that we're going down the side of, or going up the side of right now. Which, again, still doesn't make sense that I don't have video. Oh, it did come back already, because I'm looking off to the left here and I can see the cell tower still, which I should have signal from. There's 2 of them down there, so it doesn't matter which service provider it is, I should have something. There's really only 2 service providers, which I think they're the same entity anyways. I thought they merged, but because of monopoly reasons, they still had to maintain 2 separate things in markets where there isn't a lot of competition, which is why in Montana they still have to maintain the 2. It is, well, as long as you keep the 2 things open. It's like, but because there's no other stores here, we have like runnable our own time. I'm not going to push her. So this will be probably longest summit we've ever looking at, like an 18-minute average pace, which for all but maybe a half mile of this being very much runnable for even the modest, as I like to say, mediocre at best runner. Because you could power hike 20 minutes or 19 something, so to actually be running at 18-minute average is not very good. Deer. If I had to guess, I'd say there was a deer. Well, we're probably going to hit these kids that were coming up ahead of us, because we easily have gone an extra mile compared to them, depending on what they did. If I'm going to back now, and then I did sleep in my office because I was there so late. But okay, she's still coming. Yes, having corporate housing, so the mine would build all this housing for their employees, and the mine would have, I think, but power line proper comes in right there at that intersection we just passed. But Prairie Trail, all that converge onto this to hit the summit. And this is just as steep as power line for this last 150 feet of elevation gain. Oh, I can tell. I ate probably more food than I needed to last night for dinner. Energy. Okay, stay over to the side. Good girl. Okay, let's go.
How old is she?
She's, what month are we in? 4.5 years old. She had a long day yesterday on our run, so today she's a little tired. Good girl. Yeah. But anyways, so every time we'd come up that group, she would need to stop and say hi to them, and then she would literally lay down next to them and look up at me like, you just go on ahead, I'm just gonna stay here. It was funny though, because every time when we did turn around, because she's so used to here lately us doing loops on everything. No, we don't do too many out and backs other than when we were up in the Bob Marshall. But even then we did a few loops even then. But I think the out and backs that we did there, that was our only option. So she couldn't No, Nessa. Nessa, hey. She's like, I saw a deer. Yes, you did see a deer. I guarantee you're not going to catch that deer. But when we turned around the first time yesterday, well, the only time, but she looked at me like, where the fuck are you going? Because she's been on that route before. And actually, when we first were running that route a lot, this is before I was heavy into trail running, I just did that for a change to get some mileage in, because I'd be training for different races. But we would, like road races, like marathons, half marathons and stuff. And there's not a lot of routes you can go on the roads to get many miles here. So I would do some on the trails. So that was one of the longer runs that I knew about, because I'd never been over on Mountain Ascension in any of those trails before. I'd have only ever been here. And so our route would be, you know, for the first year of us doing that run, we would run all the way down to the trailhead and then take the road all the way back. And that would get us about 15. Like yesterday, she'd be all about, because she knows that the trail, she knows the distance, she knew the trail, like how it, and it went back to the van, which, but she, for whatever reason, she kept looking at me like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Hello. So then even whenever we hit those mountain bikers, because the last time we hit them was at one of those trail intersections, and they had actually caught back up to us because we had passed them, and I stopped there because there was a little bit of shade. It was before we got out of the shade, let's put it that way, to where we were exposed for the next almost 3 miles. Not quite that, probably 2 miles is all. But a lot of exposure for those next 2 miles. So I was like, okay, we got some shade right here. And so you take a little break, you can lay down. I'll give you some water. And that was where I actually had to stop and save the last 2 ounces. That was her spot where she got some water right before that. And even the bikers gave her some water, because I was just talking to them and about how, because she was looking at me that way and looking up at me like, I'm going to go with them. Maybe they'll take this trail instead of, like, why are you making us go back? You know, going back the same way we came. So I was just talking to him, and how said that normally we would do some sort of loop, but because she has been going through more water than normal, and we're almost out of water, we just decided to turn around and come back. And so one of the bikers was like, oh, do you need more water? And actually gave her some out of his water bottle. Which at the time I was like, no, she just got a drink. She should be good. She should be able to make it all the way back. In retrospect, afterwards, I'm like, I'm so glad he gave her some more water, because she would have even been in rougher shape. But after yesterday, if we're going to do another run like that, anything over 10 miles, if it's going to be over 80 degrees, I'm just going to take and throw an extra water bottle with some water in my pack. I could always just put my camel back in and carry water just for her out of that. Just put like a full liter in there or something. And then have just, because for that distance, as long as I'm not doing like 20 miles and it's not 90 out, I'm only going to go through one water bottle. So I'd always have that extra one for her too. But she, low.
Hi.
That way I'd always have like a reserve if she went through that whole liter. But I think it'd be okay also if I just brought an extra 20 ounce collapsible and just threw it in the back pouch. Especially if we're running a loop where I know there's some extra water too. I always have my filter bottle too. Always have that. Which is why the bob was so good, because every route we were on, there was always a spring or a creek or the river nearby if I absolutely needed to get some water. So that's what we did, like on that 16 miler we did back there. I was able, well, even the first one we did, which was 14 miles, but we were out there forever and it was all exposed because of the burn that went through, and then all the wind, the blown over deadfall, all that kind of stuff. Luckily there was 2 springs still coming down. I think one of them is running all year just because it was coming straight out of the mountain. It wasn't from like snow melt or anything like that. It was coming straight out of the mountain, literally like 20 feet up from where the trail crossed. Even though it might slow down to a little bit more of a trickle, but at least it was water coming straight out of the mountain. But luckily there was those 2 springs there, because she was able to drink her own water from the springs. And even up until that point, we had to cross 2 creeks coming out on the main trail too. So she was able to get some drinks and lay in the water there too. But it was so warm and exposed, I was glad that was there. If you look at my Instagram post, you can see where she was laying in the mud, little mud bog from the main spring. She did a little bit on the smaller one too, but I don't think the smaller one runs all year. I think it was more just snow melt type of a spring, even though it was trickling out. Basically, that was the beginning of its spring too, but I think that was all more just snow melt than anything. But yeah, luckily that was there, because then I was able to, because I didn't give her any of my water and until we got to the very top. But even up to like when we went by the first time, I'd already gone through, just myself had gone through 1 water bottle because it was so exposed, and that was before we got to the deadfall area. And I had to fill up one of my water bottles. So if I hadn't done that, then going through the deadfall area, I would have been out of water at the top. And it would have been a tough climb to go back down to get to that spring, because it was about 2 miles from the top, and which took about an hour going through that deadfall. Well, actually coming back, we just cut straight over the knob to not have to go through that deadfall area because it was all grassy. But it still took a long time because that was so steep. Just going right over the top of the knob and coming down through the draw where that spring was at. That draw was so steep. So stupid steep. I fell down like 3 or 4 times. And I think I was wearing these shoes, which have pretty good traction. But my footing, because it was so steep, my footing just slipped out from underneath me. Hi, sweet girl. Hi. I think today we're going to take it easy. I might, with the sun we have right now, I might go park over in the park. Yesterday, shoot, we were over there for like 3 or 4 hours. Just parked there. I had the side door open because I just went to Walmart and found like a little, just bought a cheap cargo net that you would use for like a pickup truck. And then I cut it down to size to put over the door, and then just secured it by just put some screws. It looks, all, what's the word I'm looking for? for like farm ranch, you know, type of engineering, or what the word is. My dad used to say it all the time. What is it? Garage mechanic engineering or something like that. You know, like I don't remember. Something like that. Something mechanic. Backyard mechanic, maybe? Backyard mechanic engineering? That might be what it is. That is definitely what it is. But it works, so I can have the side door open. I don't have to worry about her jumping out, and get lots of airflow in there. So it's pretty nice. And I just watched, because I was so tired that I actually took a nap too. I just watched some people, and then for whatever reason, I didn't get it. At like 1600 yesterday, or 4 o'clock for normal people, in the afternoon, I just started hearing all these vehicles, and I was parked over in an area that is not like highly trafficked, and all of a sudden I just started hearing people parking next to me. I'm like, why are people parking over here? And I peeked out the side door, and there's like 2 people parked to me on that side, and after I got outside there was like 8 people parked on my other side where I don't have a window or anything. But on the side that I could see, like 2 people parked there, and then there was nobody until you got all the way over on the end where a lot of people park to go to the dog park or the playground or that kind of stuff. So I was like, what the hell are all these people parking here for? Like, there was no, I mean, it was a Wednesday night, so there was no like softball tournaments or soccer going on right now, any of that kind of stuff. Oh, I didn't even notice that my low power was on. I don't know why. I had a full battery. What the heck? I've only been streaming for an hour and a half. Why am I only have an hour and a half of battery? A full battery should easily. What the hell happened here? I wonder if trail crew dug a trench there for water, maybe, to stop erosion. That might be what it is. But anyways, I should have like easily go 2 hours on my phone. But yeah, so all these people were parked there, and they're going out to the softball fields. But again, I'm not even parked like, if you were going to go to the softball fields, there's a whole area there. I was way on like the extreme end of even the softball fields. Like, if you're going to go to the softball fields, you think you'd park more towards the middle. I'm like, what the hell? So we finally just, because then I feel weird, because here I am. You can easily see I have a camper van. Side doors wide open, just enjoying the nice breeze, all that. Now I'm starting to feel like a creeper because there's all these little kids at the softball fields with their parents and everything, and I'm not a parent or anything. So, and I still have flashbacks. One of my friends always talks about how she was always warned about getting into the van with some dude, whatever. Well, first of all, I'm not a stranger, but it's like, yeah, but I was always told as a kid not to get into a van with anybody. I'm like, well, that was a different type of van too. These vans didn't even exist back then. That was just like an old white Chevy van, you know, like the old school, like Scooby-Doo type vans. I could see it. But these are so common as camper vans now. But because of that, I mean, I was told that as a kid too. And so because of that, even I, not subconsciously, but because it's conscious, but I still have that feeling like a creeper in my van sitting there when there's lots of kids around, even though I was there first. So I feel obligated to leave. So that's what we did. We went to the grocery store earlier than normal because being it's so warm, I don't feel like cooking. You know, since we're stealth camping in town, because I don't want to be cooking and having the doors wide open and everything. Then I'd feel really weird. People going by while I'm cooking. Anyway, some old dude is commenting on one of my TikTok videos based upon his tag name. I don't know what he would be commenting on because he's probably not a trail runner, and most of my videos are trail running. So I love here lately too. I've been getting a lot of these freaking catfish spam account whatever things, or you know, it's like, you know, be a picture of a pretty girl or something on the thing, and you look at the account and they have 0 videos and tons of followers, which is funny because it's like, you have no videos, what are people following you for? But then you look at their, just for shits and giggles, sometimes I'll click on their like social media link, which is usually Instagram, and then you open it up and it's a obvious generic photo of a you know, semi-attractive, what I would say is semi-attractive, but most guys are probably like, oh wow, she's so hot or whatever, and I will but then they only have like 2 posts, 2 videos, and then they have like an OnlyFans link in their bio, and that's it. And it's like, oh, I see what you're doing. You're going to all these guys that, so you're betting your hedges, or hedging your bets, hedging your bets that I'm just going to follow all these guys and maybe they'll come and follow my OnlyFans or whatever. Well, sorry, but there is nothing about me that is going to subscribe to an OnlyFans account. Now, I do have an OnlyFans account because I was going to do my own have my own OnlyFans, like do my own media. And it's still there. I could always drop stuff on there. I just never finalized all the stuff, you know, bank account stuff and all that, so that if people did subscribe. But I just never finished it. So I'm not a bashful person. I'll put stuff on there, but I don't know why anybody would want to necessarily see me naked, but there always is that possibility, because I need to make money. I know how much I'm getting now every month, and it's not a lot of money, so I can always use a little bit extra. Now, I'd really like to get my coaching stuff off, and then my Twitch account, if I could be more consistent, would probably take off, and I might actually be able to make a little bit of money off of it. I do have one member, I think, Kamitska, for that. She has subscribed to my Twitch. I had 2 at one time, but he didn't renew, which is fine. I was right at that time was when I was just leaving DC, so I was not consistent at all with my streaming at all. So I get it. Why pay for something, you know, that you're not, or the guy's not being consistent on? I've been way more consistent here lately, although next week will be iffy. I will not be able to, I'm gonna say, I will not be able to live stream my next race for Kendall Mountain. 2 reasons. Main reason is, no matter what, I wouldn't have done it, just because I'm going to be pushing myself hard on that race. But 2, I wouldn't be able to anyways for DMCA. It's copyrighted. The race company that's putting on has their own live stream. So for those of you out there that feel like, oh, I'm gonna do live streaming during a race, you have to be careful. If somebody has the rights to live stream it, you're usually okay if you're going to do like a 1 or 2 minute, Instagram live or Facebook live type of thing, just checking in with people. Not usually a big deal. But if you're running the whole race and somebody like NBC or ESPN or the event itself has their own live stream stuff going for it, then you have to be very careful. Very, very careful. Because depending on the event, sometimes they would just file a copyright claim against, if it was on like YouTube or something, they'll file a copyright claim against you for it. But some organizations, especially if it was NBC or ESPN or CBS or some of those type of things, will actually sue you. So if you have a monetized account, if you don't have a monetized account on like YouTube, I doubt they'll care. They'll just file a copyright claim and that's it. Because then any ad revenue that YouTube gets off of it will go to them. But if you don't have a monetized account, which I do on Twitch, you have to be careful. You have to be very careful. One thing I would love to do, and I know I'm a little late to the market because there's actually a racing company, and actually the one for my next race that will be live streaming actually in order to do it, but like starting a company that specializes just in doing races, like live streaming different races, because that is the way of the future. And so I am half tempted to thinking about trying to get that started. The problem is how do you market it? I am not a marketer, which means I'd have to hire somebody for marketing. And you come in, okay, you lost your leash again. And starting off, it wouldn't be lucrative enough for me to hire an individual. Oh, she's got to go potty. That tells me that she drank enough water if she's going potty. Okay, come on. We're down this way. Yeah. But, so I don't know. I mean, I would really like to get into that. I think it would be something I'd be really good at and that kind of stuff. But okay, let's get you some water. Yeah, good girl. Good girl. Yeah. Okay, jump up here and get some water. Jump up and get water. Go. No? Okay. Are you gonna? Yes? Okay, well jump up. I'll help you. I'll help you. Hold on. Okay. Are you too tired? You're too tired to jump up. There you go. Now you're in the shade too. But, so that's might be a possibility. I'm really gonna give it a think. A big long think the next year. Well, not even the next year, a couple months. Because if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna launch it and start working towards it right away. Because I think it would be good. I'm really interested in it. But we'll see. End goal, I'd love to be able to get to this type of quality, like when you watch the Golden Trail series stuff, oh geez, it's like professional, like worldwide TV produced quality type of stuff. But that's be what I'd love to be able to get to, but for what I would be doing for like smaller events, smaller, you know, your more local races, or even some of the bigger local races, you'd never be able to do that kind of quality because it would be too expensive for them to pay for. Anyways, we're gonna get going. That is it for today's stream, and I haven't decided if I'm gonna do more miles today. I might do a run this afternoon as well, but it'll be easy miles, but we'll see. It's gonna be pretty warm, so I don't know. But thank you everybody for joining me today, and we will see you guys tomorrow morning, most likely. I might go to Bozeman. If we go to Bozeman, I'll be doing the M, so I can take you guys along on that. Or if we go do the Meriwether Trail, I could take you guys at least to the beginning on that, but not very far up, but we'll see. But anyways, bye guys. Love you all. We'll see you next time.